I live in LA County, and it's fire time right now, and it's pretty scary. A lot of people being evacuated, not getting out in time, houses burning down. I'm not near that area, so thank God I am safe from that for now. Hopefully, it just doesn't, nothing happens this way. But it got me wondering about preparedness. As I've mentioned a couple of times, I am on dialysis. I am on what's called CAPD. It's continuous ambulatory peritoneal dialysis. It's different than the kind that you go into a center and you hook up to the machine. I do it at home, and I don't use a machine. I use bags. Gravity in my body acts as the filter. For me, it's very convenient, but it requires what's called an exchange 4 times a day. So I have to go through the process of changing the dialysate, which is, there's a tube connected to my belly and it drains. Think of an oil change. You change the oil, you drain it, and then you got to fill it right back up. So I have to do that 4 times a day. It takes 30 to 40 minutes each time. So it's not that much of a hassle. And for me, it's better than going into a center. The time is very flexible. But it does require a lot of supplies. I just got a shipment today, and you can see that there are a lot of boxes. That is a supply for 1 month. I have a special room where I do my exchanges 4 times a day, like I said. But I was wondering what would happen in case of an emergency if I had to evacuate. If I had to evacuate for earthquake, fire, or whatever reason, that's a lot of cargo to take. That would require, say, even a week would require a lot of boxes to carry. And thank God I don't use a machine. There are people who do home dialysis that have machines and who require a lot more time than I'm doing. For me, I'm doing the less amount of maintenance that I need to do. So I really started to wonder, what happens if I evacuate and I take enough supplies and it's not enough supplies? How can I get some more? What happens if I have to stop dialysis? I don't know. I'm going to have to find out about that. What other method can I use? My kidneys are nearly gone. This might be TMI, but I'm back down to 5% function of my kidneys. So they're ready to go. The dialysis is what's keeping me alive, literally. So what happens if I can't do the dialysis? This is something I'm going to have to talk to my doctor about. What is the alternative? I would have to go someplace and find some supplies. But imagine this. I have 3 dogs, a cat, and 2 turtles. We have to evacuate. I have a Toyota Avalon, a 2001 Toyota Avalon, which we know is not running. It's still not running. Trying to fit just the animals in the car with me, and say a small suitcase of clothes, dog food, dog supplies, leashes, all of that, all of the dog stuff in the car. I could barely fit the 2 big dogs in the back seat. And then think about having to take 5 or 6 of these boxes with me as well as all the other supplies. And performing the exchange, I have to be in a relatively clean area. Where would I do it? I can't just pull into the gas station and do it in the bathroom. I have to be in a pretty sanitary area. So there's a lot to consider as I'm watching these people who are losing their homes and losing their cars and everything that they have, trying to get out and not being able to take much at a time. And I'm wondering, how would I handle the evacuation? I have some preparedness plans ready. Before I had to do the dialysis, I had a bug out plan and how I could take the dogs. Also, I had to take crates because what if I had to stay somewhere? The dogs would need a place to stay. If I went to the shelter and had my dogs with me, I would need to take their crates. They're both very reactive dogs. They can't be around random people. So what would I do with my dogs if I had to go to a shelter? They're not sweet little doggies I can put on a leash. They're very reactive. They get riled up when they see other dogs and people. We would have to stay someplace isolated by ourselves. So my preparedness plan included one time taking a tent and maybe camping somewhere on the beach or in the mountains or whatever. I had to check my tent. It's been in the garage for a while. So it's probably all the mice and rats have probably gotten to it. It's been there for 10 years. I haven't opened it, so I better check that. And my car is not that big when it's running, and it's not even running. So what would I do? I can't Uber. I can't Uber out my pets and everything. Sure, my daughter could probably help me, but her car is even smaller. There's a lot of planning and thinking that I have to do. It really makes me think. Like I said, there's some level of preparedness that I have got. So if I'm staying at home, I have a jackery, but I can also use that on the road. I have a solar panel to charge it with. And so say I needed to evacuate and I went and I camped out on the beach or in the mountains. I would have to set up a perimeter. I have a foldable fence, a fencing area that could fence in about 8 square feet. Yeah, maybe 4 feet. It's 8 feet long. Anyway, I have a fencing thing that I could create a perimeter. I would put the tent and the dogs in the crates, in the fence. And I have the jackery that I could use. And then I have a solar panel that would charge the jackery if I needed to. But where would I do the dialysis? I have to do it in the car. So I'm also looking into one of those personal enclosed shower covers. I could at least have that covering. There's just a whole bunch of things I had to think about and plan. And then hopefully I will never have to use any of these things. I will never have to test them. I probably should go through a dry run anyway, but hopefully I will never actually have to test it. Yeah, we're thinking about food and water and carrying all that stuff and how long would it be gone and just so much to think about. And again, I'm thinking about those people. It's so sad to lose everything and feel bewildered and lost and just frozen, I imagine. There was one time where we needed to evacuate and I was by myself at home and I'm looking out the window and I see all these cars driving by with mattresses and boxes and furniture strapped to the top of their car. A big parade. We're in a mountain road, so it's just 2 lanes, not a lot of space, and all of these cars, and I'm just frozen like a deer in the headlights thinking, what would I take? What really matters? That's the other question. What else would I take if I thought there was dire danger that I could never get back? If my house was burning down? Pictures? I have no valuables, so that wouldn't even be a necessity. Something I had to worry about. Just so much to think about in that, in case of an emergency, and it's just in case. Just in case. You never know if you're going to have to use it. Use your plan. And if there's no plan, that's when you're going to need one. And when you have a plan all worked out, that's when it's not going to happen. Isn't that how it works out? Isn't that how it works out? So I have to think about things. I've been writing down some things, some questions, and what do I have, and where would I go, and how would I transport it? And I think I need to stop worrying about getting my car fixed now. It's like I said, it's a very old car, 2001 Toyota Avalon, 221,000 miles. It needs tons of work. It's probably not even worth it fixing, but I need to get it fixed for the meantime. But then I think I need to start thinking about a different kind of vehicle. Maybe I get a minivan instead. And then if I ever needed to transport all of my animals at once, that would be much easier. Or a big SUV. I think a minivan would be better. But I had a minivan when I had kids. And now I got a minivan because I got my dogs are like kids. So much to think about. So much to think about. But I also don't want to do such a deep down dive that it's causing me tons of anxiety. I'm worried, put myself in a frame of mind where I'm worried and scared and planning, and here's the emergency, and I'm not even in that emergency yet. I have to make sure that I don't live in the imaginary world of needing to be prepared, and what would I do, and what is the emergency. Anyway, all that to say is that I don't know exactly what to do, and I pray that I never have to do it. I'm praying for all the people who are suffering right now. I do not want to imagine that catastrophic loss. It's got to be horrible. It's got to be horrible. Anyway, stay safe, everybody. Do you have a plan? What's your plan? Do you have a bug out bag ready to go? Do you know where you'd go, who you'd talk to? Yeah, that's the other thing, is that I need to be able to communicate with my daughters. Say it was more than just local. Say it was globaler, more global, or more across the United States, because we're all here in the States. How would I communicate with my daughters? How would we know? We have a slight plan on where we would meet up, but how do we know that they can get there? And, a lot to think about without going too far down the rabbit hole that I am just already wrought with fear and anxiety. Whew. Let's see what I come up with. Go, Mama.